the reliability of a study's results can be compromised by the risk of bias. In a systematic review, we can objectively evaluate this risk using various assessment tools. Meta-IMU offers 6 different risk of bias assessment tools, and you should choose the one that fits the type of study you're dealing with. For instance, if you have a cluster randomized trial, use RoB2 cluster. For crossover trials, select RoB2 crossover. If your study involves non-randomized interventions, go with RoB and for non-randomized exposure studies, use RoB. If none of these categories apply, you can opt for RoB1 or RoB2, with RoB2 being the improved version and typically recommended. As shown in reference 1, each assessment tool has a different number and types of domains. If you'd like more details about the RoB tools, please check the link in reference 2. Before we begin, make sure that the meta-analysis type in Step 4.2 is correctly chosen and saved. Once that's confirmed, you can proceed to select the assessment tool for each of your 5 outcomes. I'll choose a different assessment tool for each outcome for demonstration purposes, but when you conduct your own review, make your selections based on the principles I just mentioned. After selecting the tools for all outcomes, click Save Inputs in the side panel. Next, for each outcome, click the Create RoB_Outcome (XLSM) button. Now, if you check your directory, you'll find 5 RoB_Outcome (XLSM) files corresponding to each outcome. We can now move on to Step 5.2, which also requires that 2 authors work independently. Author 1 can provide all the RoB_Outcome (XLSM) files to Author 2, and both should assess the risk of bias separately. After completing the evaluations, the authors should compare their assessments, discuss any discrepancies, and reach a consensus. If they cannot agree, the opinion of a third author should be sought. Let's start with Outcome 1, where we'll use RoB1. First, open the data_outcome1.csv file from your directory and copy the data in the stud label and year column. Next, open the RoB_Outcome1 XLSM file and paste the stud label and data. Now you're ready to assess the risk of bias for each domain. For demonstration purposes, I'll randomly select the risk of bias as low, unclear, or high. Once I complete this assessment, I will save and close the file. For outcomes 2 and 3, we will also choose RoB1, so we will just repeat the process. Now, let's move on to Outcome 4, using RoB2. Open the data_outcome4.csv file and copy the stud label data. Then, open the RoB_Outcome4 XLSM file. You'll need to enable macros when prompted. Go to the results sheet and paste the stud label data into the unique ID column. Next, navigate to the intro sheet and click on the RoB2 assessment form. Fill in the required information. Remember that all fields marked in yellow must be completed. For responses, use Y for yes, PY for probably yes, PN for probably no, N for no, and NI for no information. After completing each domain, click Algorithm Results to view the suggested RoB judgment. Your final assessment may align or differ from the suggested judgment. Once you're finished, save and proceed to the next study. Here, I have made a mistake as I forgot to click Save and proceed to the next study. Now I realized that I have forgotten to save study 3, so I reopened the file to complete it. When all studies are done, we can save and close the file. The procedure for RoB2 cluster and RoB2 crossover is the same as we just demonstrated. Both outcome 2 and outcome 3 are using RoB1. In this case, I will follow the same procedure and fill them in. Finally, for outcome 5, we will use RoB. The procedures for RoB and RoB are identical, so I'll only demonstrate RoB here. Open data_outcome5.csv and copy the data from the stud label in year column. Then, open the RoB_outcome5 XLSM file and paste the stud label in year data. Now, choose the risk of bias. Your options include low risk, some concerns, high risk, very high risk, or NI, no information. Once all studies have been assessed, we can complete the last step. Proceed to step 5.3 and click the buttons for each outcome. Since we have 5 outcomes, click the buttons for outcome 1 through outcome 5. Now, check your directory again, and you'll find 5 new files, ranging from data_rob_outcome1.csv to data_rob_outcome5.csv.